Hello, beautiful people. It's your brother in Christ, Kevin Mason Jr. I guess through popular demand, if you will, I was asked to do a video on the importance of living in your God-given purpose. Okay, this all kind of stemmed from me doing a clubhouse call talking about that same particular topic. So I want to thank everybody that tuned in that night. I hope you got something from it. And those of you who are watching right now, I hope you get something from it as well. So let's dive right in, right? So the importance of living in your God-given purpose. So those who know me know that I am an advocate for people doing exactly what God has called them to do, right? But the question I often get is, how do I know what my purpose is? How do I get to it? How do I operate in it? Well, I got a few steps, and these are in no particular order, okay? First thing, you have to be determined to find it. Look, we're determined to get the new J's. We waiting all day, all night to see if we were chosen to get the new Jordans that were coming out. We are determined to get our credit scores together. We are determined to get that new boo in our lives and be booed up. We're determined to do so many different things, but how about we take some of that same energy, if not more, and turn it into finding out exactly what God has for us. Second thing, and again, these are in no particular order. Second thing is you have to walk in his promises and be obedient, okay? Once you figure out exactly what God has called you to do, you have to walk in his promises because he will fulfill his promises. I promise you, it may not look like it sometime. It may not seem that there's any light at the end of the tunnel, but I promise you, if you are obedient, you will reap everything that you have actually sowed as it relates to fulfilling the purpose that God has for you. The other thing you want to do is rely on God for your courage and your strength, okay? You cannot do this by yourself. Flat out, point blank, you just can't. You are not going to be able to do this by yourself, okay? Your strength comes from nobody else but God himself, and your courage comes from nobody but God himself. You're going to need the courage because God is going to more than likely put you into places that are uncomfortable for you. The good thing is that he's always there. You will get your strength renewed by waiting on God and hearing from God and praying to God, so that your strength can be renewed daily, okay? Just because you were strong on Monday don't mean you're going to be strong on Tuesday, all right? The other thing is, what do other people say about you? You know, what is something that you constantly hear about yourself that you do well? You know, maybe it's accounting. Maybe you preach well. Maybe you sing well. Or perhaps, maybe you're a good cook. See, some people don't think that being a cook is vital, is purposeful. They think that, oh, I have to be in front of a stage, I have to be singing, I have to be preaching, I have to be walking up and down the street. Like, no. If God called you to be a cook, then cook. Feed his people. All right? So, what are other people saying about you that you kind of know that you're good at as well, right? Next thing is very important as well. Who are you? Like, who are you in your totality? Like, who are you holistically? Sometimes we get a glimpse at what somebody else is doing and we say, oh, I can do that. I can do that too. And then we try to do it. But no, who are you? Are you suffering from an identity crisis? Who are you? Who has God called you to be? That might be the most important thing before you even complete any of the other steps that I just mentioned. Who are you? Who has God called you to be? Who has God called you to reach? What demographic does God want you to reach out to? You have to figure out who you are. All right? And the next thing, of course, is going to be pray. The Bible tells us that man should always pray. Mankind should always pray. We should always be in communication with God. I say prayer is the two-way connection between God and man. So we got to make sure that we're constantly praying. All right. So this was just my opinion of some helpful steps on how to walk in the call of God on your life. Now, why is this so important? Because there are generations of people attached to your purpose. I gotta say that one more time. Some of you have heard me say this before. There are generations of people attached to your purpose. And so when I see myself wanting to quit, I have to remember that my purpose is going to leave legacy. It's going to leave legacy for my children. It's going to leave legacy for another family. It's going to leave legacy for someone. Someone needs me to do what I've been called to do so that they can fulfill what God has called them to do. Everything is like a setup. It's like a snowball effect in a good way, right? You have to be in alignment with what God has called you to do because someone is waiting for you to do that very thing and or things. The other reason that it is so important is because, trust me, oh my goodness, man, I can make a whole sermon off of this. Is you're going to feel a void inside of your life. When you are not doing what you were called to do, you're going to feel a void in your life. So you're going to feel like there's a void missing inside of your life. You got to make sure that you are doing what God has called you to do and not filling a void with something else. All right. The most important reason to actually do what God has called you to do is to hear, well done. Listen, there's not a man or a woman on this earth that have a heaven or a hell to put you in. So it would behoove you to go ahead and do what God has called you to do. Isn't that the ultimate goal, to hear well done? But in hearing well done, we must do well. Think about the word well done. Isn't it funny that the word do well is inside of the word well done? I'm going to give you a minute to think about the word. That's enough. The words well done have the word do well. We do well in our finances. We do well in our relationships. We do well in our careers. Can we do well in living a righteous life that's pleasing to God and operating in the very purpose that He called us to? Can we do that? All right. So I got a few takeaways that I want you to, consider, if you will. Remember this as it relates to your purpose. When there is a purpose, there's going to be provision. But in that provision, there takes preparation. So I'm an advocate for the saying of preparation before the purpose. Think about it like this. Imagine if Noah would have actually started building the ark when the flood started coming. Doesn't really make logical sense, right? But think about if he would have done that. He would have risked his own life and he would have risked the lives of others. Same for you. When you don't prepare for your purpose, then you are experimenting on people and you are risking your life and the lives of others. That's why it is so important to pray and receive direction from God and prepare when He tells you to in advance. You got to make sure that there is preparation in your purpose. Next thing, get rid of all of the distractions, whether it be social media, going out to places that you know you probably shouldn't be going out to, whatever it is that's distracting you from fulfilling that. So many things, there's so many distractions in the world. Girlfriends, boyfriends, television shows, social media, YouTube, sports. There's so many distractions that are inside of the world today that can pull you away from spending that time to prepare to operate in the very thing that God has for you, okay? So get rid of the distraction, block out all of the noise. As I said before, you gotta pray without ceasing. You gotta make sure that you're in direct communication with God, all right? So those are just some of the things that I personally think will help you find your purpose, operate in your purpose, and stay disciplined in order to fulfill the purpose of God on your life. All right? Thank Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you all. If you have any other questions as it relates to anything that I said, please feel free to message me. All right? Love you guys. God bless you. Peace.